Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. It's a huge Big 12 battle for the Cougars as they head to Cincinnati for a showdown against the Bearcats. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, folks, gather around the radio. It's another edition of your Cougar Preview Show, getting you ready for a big one. It is BYU squaring off against Cincinnati. Biggest game of the year remaining for the Cougars as they hit the road and play. I'm trying to think, what's Cincinnati? No, it's the city of the Skyline Chili, I guess. I'm trying to think, there's a city of lights, there's a city of enchantment. I don't know if Cincinnati has anything really going for them.
Well, I know they've got an NFL team, which is something we don't have.
That's true.
I sure would love to have that.
I'm not hating on Cincinnati. I have actually not really spent any time there.
I've only been there, I think I've been there 3 times. And every time I go, it's the same scene.
Yeah.
It's the same deal. But this is a bit of a change. Headed out to go call this BYU-Cincinnati game. I don't know what the fan base is going to look like after the loss last week against Arizona at home. I don't know if they're still overly committed. I don't know if it's going to be a passionate crowd. I don't know what exactly they're playing for. They've already hit bowl eligibility. They've already done a lot of good things. They've already suffered the losses, starting with a loss to Nebraska to start the season and then putting together a couple losses to Utah and Arizona. So I feel like they're going to be kind of mentally out of it. Maybe the fans will be mentally out of it. The coach is probably going to continue to try to surround them to get going. But, Scotty, I've been thinking about this because I sat around and waited through the evening for the stupid reveal show and the top 25 CFP and blah, blah, blah. And I was hoping they do the right thing and put BYU in the top 10 because they deserve it. Too many 2-loss teams above BYU and too many 2-loss teams under BYU with an opportunity to give a 1-loss team a second loss. And I know people are thinking, well, wait a second. If USC beats Oregon, that'll drop Oregon below BYU. No, I think that keeps Oregon and then bumps USC up above BYU. You can tell what the committee is already trying to do.
Yes, they're laying the groundwork.
So I was all caught up in it last night, and I was starting to get mad. And I thought, you know what? Screw this.
I love your tweet.
It's not about this.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not about this, man. It's not about the college football playoffs yet or right now. It's about a Big 12 championship.
Yep.
You know what bugs me? Let's go back to when Utah was making the runs to Pac-12 championships. How often did we sit there and say, oh, wait, Final Four, oh, college football play? No, it was like, holy cow, they got to a Pac-12 championship. That's a big-time accomplishment. Holy cow, they won a Pac-12 championship. That's even a bigger accomplishment. That's incredible.
They're going to a Rose Bowl.
BYU is only in their 3rd year in the Big 12. And if you would have told me that they were going to be in competition for a Big 12 championship game with 2 teams left to play against at the end of the season, I would tell you, first of all, you're crazy. You're out of your mind. I don't know what future you were looking at, but you got a true freshman quarterback. You lost your receivers. You lost 3 of your offensive linemen. You lost really your 3 defensive linemen that did anything. Tyler Batty, Blake Mengelson, and John Nelson. You lost those 3. What are you even talking about, man? You got a true freshman quarterback, dude. You're going to have growing pains. You're going to start the season probably 3-3. You're going to have to fight through a couple of these Big 12 games. None of that exists right now. It's BYU, Cincinnati, 2 games left, win them, and you get a rematch against Texas Tech.
Yep. You control your own destiny. Everything you want. And that's why I think people are BYU fans, and I love you put it, because I'm the same way. I have a hard time not looking at that in regards to BYU and Utah not getting mad and getting upset. I mean, it's just our natural tendency to be like, ugh, why is this?
Yeah, why are you overlooking us? Why are we always marginalized? Why do we always get put aside?
Exactly. And then you realize, well, wait a minute. Okay, that's the beauty of being in the Big 12. That's the beauty of the situation BYU is in, and to a certain extent Utah, even though Utah's going to need some help. But if you're BYU, all of this noise doesn't really matter. What matters is, as you put it, going to a Big 12 title game. You win your final 2 games, you go to a Big 12, and then you see Texas Tech. And if you beat Texas Tech, it doesn't matter what the committee thinks of you.
Doesn't matter.
You're in.
You're in.
It's that simple.
So, I just wanted to kind of refocus myself on air, maybe help refocus some of Cougar Nation on air, because we're looking past all this and we're like, yeah, but the CFP, forget it, man. When did the CFP become the standard of BYU? The standard of BYU is go get a conference championship. Like if you can go get a conference championship, then things are really kicking off and things are really going well for you. So I just kind of wanted to reset that today, that you go 2-0 over these next 2 games, very winnable games. I was watching the Arizona game back again this morning, and, Cincinnati comes out. Arizona gets a little pressure. First play, second play of the game. Sorsby throws an interception to Arizona. Arizona goes right down the field, scores a touchdown.
Bam.
Now, Arizona gave up some leaks and some big runs right up the gut. And if Cincinnati does anything well, it's rushing offense. They put close to 200 yards per game on the ground. They're pretty decent in their rushing game. But this is a very beatable team, and if you beat Cincinnati – now, UCF's going to be interesting because UCF might be coming into Provo playing for bowl eligibility. There's a good chance that when UCF comes into Provo, they're going to be playing for bowl eligibility. So that's not even a game that you can just write off and say, oh, look, that's going to be a win, because UCF plays Oklahoma State this weekend.
W.
So that puts them at 5 wins. So if UCF's at 5 wins, what are they doing when they come into Provo?
Yep. I mean, that'll snap a 3-game losing skid they're on. They'll beat Oklahoma State, and then you mentioned, they'll be 5-6 with a chance to get to 6-6 against BYU.
So UCF is going to be a difficult game as well. I know that they've been back and forth with their quarterback situation, but
only 1 win in Big 12 play, and that's a dump truck against West Virginia.
They've had a couple close games.
Yeah.
A couple one-score games, but I do think that's going to be a game that you don't want to overlook, because UCF could bite you. So ultimate focus, Big 12 championship is the goal. Anything over that is just icing on the cake.
Yeah. You could not be more correct on this. And that's what I think is really important, because before you put the pitchforks and the torches and try to storm the gates, if you're BYU fans, be upset. That's totally fine. But just know this isn't the be-all of all existence. This isn't how you measure your worth, because there is a path for you to get into that college football playoff. But that's not what's important right now. Winning a conference championship, that's important. Getting to the conference title game, that's important. Your fans that have bought tickets to Arlington, don't screw them over again.
Yeah.
Too many people bought tickets to Arlington last year and had to burn those tickets, or just show up and support 2 teams that they didn't really care about. So don't do that.
Some did just still go and use their tickets.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there were a lot of people on social media with signs saying,
posting their signs,
I didn't really want to be here without BYU, but here we are.
Yeah, and they're BYU.
So because I do think when you've got impressionable young men, they can get sucked up into the anger and the disrespect. And if I'm Kalani Sitake, I really hit home on this. All of our goals are still in front of us. Everything we want to accomplish is still there and available for you. All you have to do is win games. That's it. You don't have to worry about somebody beating somebody and this other team beating. That's Utah. Utah's got to get some help to get there. BYU needs 0 help. All they have to do is win, and everything they want is right there on the table for them.
So I sent out that tweet. I said I've gotten a little too caught up in CFP talk when BYU is just 2 wins away from being in the Big 12 championship game. CFP be damned. BYU playing a Big 12 championship game would be next level for Cougar Nation. And Texas Tech is not undefeated. ASU showed the way.
Yeah.
And now Texas Tech fans are in my mentions.
Of course they are.
Holy cow, man. This guy says, what are you going to do, kneecap our starting quarterback in a parking lot? We're 10-0 with Morton taking the snaps. This guy said, ASU showed you the way. You had a bye week to prepare, and you still got BTA. What was that?
I think that, isn't that beat their earth?
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
But that doesn't sound like that works with how he – but then again, that's logical English, and I'm not sure if that's really common in Lubbock.
Sorry, you say BTA?
Yeah.
That's belt 2.
Oh,
belt.
Belt.
Yeah, belt.
Ah, okay.
There you go. All right, well, appreciate that.
That one makes sense.
See, that's why we got to have Christian close.
This guy says ASU played Tech at home without Morton, and Texas Tech was focused on throwing tortillas. Sanctioning a hit on Morton seems morally wrong. Like there's.
So they're thinking that you said take out the quarterback.
I don't know what they're. Yeah, I mean they're assuming all kinds of things.
Oh, for crying out loud!
But I would say Texas Tech fans are very alert right now.
Oh yeah,
and that was a crazy road game, and that was a crazy environment, and Tech fans feel ownership right now. Ownership of the Big 12, ownership of the CFP, ownership. Well, what the numbers are telling us right now is the CFP really only wants one team out of the Big 12.
Yes.
Hey, so guess what?
Might as well be you.
Does that go for an 11-2 Texas Tech team? Wait. What would it be if BYU beat them?
BYU, they'd be 11-2.
11-2, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So
2 losses to Arizona State and 1 to BYU. So they'd be 11-1 going into the conference.
2 to BYU and 1 to Arizona State, right? Oh no, what? Oh,
yeah. I'm saying if they lose to BYU in the conference championship game, then
2 losses.
They would have 2 losses. They'd be 11-2.
Okay, so is the CFP just going to say, well, yeah, they paid a lot of money. Yeah, they got big numbers. I mean, maybe.
Right now, I don't think that would be the case. Where did they stack up? They came in at number 5. If they're number 5 and BYU beats them in a conference championship game, I think they're still in. But if BYU loses that conference championship game, BYU's not in.
Not the way things are currently put together, no. So I just look at everything that's in front of BYU, and I've got a lot of hope. I'm excited for BYU. I'm excited for Cougar fans because they've been treated to an incredible season, and there's still so much in front of you. And I don't know why or how we got this CFP thing stuck so hard in our heads that it's CFP or bust.
Yeah.
For me, going into the season, it was 7 wins or bust.
Yeah, I know, right? But, also look at this from this college football playoff committee. Don't think that they're not without the understanding of storylines. There's a reason BYU is 11 and Utah is 12. There's a reason Miami isn't between BYU and Utah. There's a reason Vanderbilt's not between BYU and Utah. They're playing to the crowd. They want storylines, and so they want to rattle the state of Utah's cage. They want to rattle the Big 12's cage. They're not above trying not to have a little bit of fun with what they're putting together. So don't for a second think that it's an accident that BYU and Utah are listed right next to each other on that cut line. No, they're what do you call it? Rage baiting for sure.
Yeah. In our next segment, we're going to jump into Cincinnati. I'm going to give you some ideas of what BYU's chances are to get a win in Cincinnati, some things that Cincinnati does really well, and then I'm going to talk about the thing that is most surprising to me outside of Bear Bachmeier. What is most surprising to me so far in this BYU football season?
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You're locked on to Hans Olsen and Scotty Chin.
That's right, yeah!
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hey, it's a Wednesday, which means it's a Win Ticket Wednesday. Caller number 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. You win a 4-pack of tickets. See the Jazz and the Lakers. That's right, a rematch at the Delta Center coming up on November 23rd, coming up next week.
All right, Scott, a couple things here with this BYU-Cincinnati matchup.
Yeah.
Number one, I mentioned something that I'm overly impressed with. Let's go back to 2023. BYU was able to muster up a total of 11 sacks through the 2023 season.
Yep.
Okay, going to 2024, it was better, but they still mustered up 20 sacks in 13 games in 2024. So it was much better. The pressures were better. Interceptions were great. BYU through 10 games has put together 25 sacks. They've got an opportunity to break the 30 barrier. They've got an opportunity to triple what they did in 2023. Let's just say they play 3 more games.
Yeah, at least.
And let's say they average just 2 per game, which their average right now is 2.5 per game. So let's just say that they hit their average.
Yeah.
Then we're looking at 31, 32, maybe 33 sacks on the season. You get into that Big 12 championship game. So now let's take a look at where the sacks are coming from. Jack Kelly leads the team with 7 sacks. So Jack Kelly's been the sack master, the way they've gone odd front. So against last week against TCU, they went all odd front the whole game. Never saw them go even front. All odd front. Typically, Keanu Tanavasa lined up over the center. Either Vilpuha or Bodie Schoonover at the defensive end. And then they were running either Tassili Akana or Logan Latui at the other defensive end. They were rotating in Hunter Clegg, and they were able to get pressure on the odd front. Now, go back 2 weeks ago against Texas Tech, all even front. I don't even think they went odd front one time against Texas Tech. So what they did there is they went Keanu Tanavasa, John Taumapeu at the 2-3-eye techniques, and then they went Logan Latui, Bodie Schoonover, and Hunter Clegg, and Vilpuha at the other end. They went even front and still got 4 sacks. So they still have 4 sacks against Texas Tech, 4 sacks against TCU. They've racked up 8 in the last 2 games. And so you're starting to see their sacks and their pressures and their techniques and their rushes. It's all coming along really well.
Before you continue on, is that just a personnel issue on going even against Tech and then odd last week, or is it what you're seeing offensively? Like why the sudden change? Because that's a pretty distinct switch.
It is. It's O-line, so it's based off your O-line. If you got an O-line that's heavily capable in combo blocks and gets good push, then you got to throw down another anchor defensive lineman.
So you go even.
If you've got a center, which BYU abused TCU's center, abused him. If you got a center that you feel like you can get push on, then you take your nose tackle and you put him in a 0 or you put him on a plus-minus, and you just let him attack the center. So 100% based on what you feel with the offensive line front and what you can get away with. Because if I've got the luxury of running an odd front, I can throw so many different blitz schemes in there. Because with an odd front, I've got my 3 downs, I can walk my 3 backers up, and I can put 5 across the line. And I can run all kinds of bait and switch, all kinds of stunts, all kinds of angled slants. That's how Jack Kelly's getting a lot of his heat, is you run that even front, Jack walks up to the line of scrimmage, and he can hit one of 3 different gaps on a pass rush.
Or can drop back
or can fall into coverage.
Yeah.
So even on the odd front that they ran last week, they ran a lot of 3-man rush. They did a lot of 3-man rush and dropped 8.
So just to maybe this is oversimplifying it, but I think this is a good nugget people can take to the water cooler. If you're going up against a really good rushing attack with really good offensive line, more often than not, you're seeing an even front.
I would go even front. Yeah.
And then so sometimes you'll see a team starting an odd front, and if they're getting gashed, they'll make the switch to an even front throughout the course of a game.
Right. And if you've got a team that you feel like you can confuse, you do what you did to Colorado in that bowl game.
You do everything.
And you did everything. You threw everything.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I was sitting there with Greg Wrubell calling the game, and every other play I'm seeing different formations, different personnel, different. And I'm like, geez, every play. Against TCU, same formations. You rotated 2 or 3 different guys up front and 2 or 3 different guys in the second line of defense. Max Alford played a lot. I have an update on Max Alford. He went out in that game, but Max Alford played a lot. Ace Kafusi played a lot. They were able to rest Jack Kelly through most of the fourth quarter and even parts of the third quarter because they felt like they had that game in hand. So Ace Kafusi got a lot of reps, and Jack was able to get a little bit more rest, which is good. You need to be able to put Jack on ice as quick as you can because he's the key. Jack's the key defensively. L.J. Martin's the key offensively. When you got those two guys clicking at top-end speed, you got a chance. Guess who you didn't have clicking against Texas Tech? Those two guys.
Yep.
You know, I don't want to give over my skis on this and
get stuck in the college football playoff weeds.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. But, you know, I keep looking forward to that Texas Tech game. I want that game back.
Yes, I think you got Utah who can say the same thing about Devin Dampier and his inability to really produce at a high level against Texas Tech. And certainly BYU's looking at like, hey, our two big guns weren't great in that game.
I watched that Arizona State-Texas Tech game in detail, and I watched what they did with Sam Levitt. The game plan that Arizona State ran with couldn't have been more opposite than what BYU ran with. BYU went so much max protect because they got a true freshman, and Texas Tech has a lot of guys that like to hit people, and you get your true freshman hit on the blind side a few times, it rattles the brain. And so I totally understand why Aaron Roderick did what he did. I guess I can promise you that Aaron Roderick won't go status quo if he gets that shot at Texas Tech again. See, I get going way too far out. My brain doesn't want to sit here on Cincinnati.
Yeah.
But if you just stop and take a look at Cincinnati, they're a problem in the run game. They've got a really good run game. Both Sorsby and their running back can gash you. And they put up about 200 yards a game. Outside of that, they're not terrific at anything.
Yeah.
Their passing game is mediocre. Their defense is mediocre. Their rushing defense, their passing defense is mediocre. Their turnover margin, very mediocre. They're all square on the season. Nine turnovers for, 9 turnovers lost. They are 23 in scoring offense. They put up 34 points a game. So maybe that's where Cincinnati excels. 34 points a game, that's good.
Yeah, but you look at their 2 last losses. Utah roughed them up. They only had 14 in that game, and then they only got 24 against Arizona. So they've been well off their average. And you look at their wins. They put 37 on Kansas, 38 on Iowa State, only 20 against Central Florida, 49 against Oklahoma State. There's a reason why we looked at Cincinnati at the beginning of the year and said, watch out for them.
Yeah.
Because of their schedule.
Right. Because of their schedule and their quarterback.
Yeah. Their
quarterback is really good. Sorsby's good. And Tawi Walker, their running back, is really good. But here's what I love. I love teams in terms of BYU's defense. I love teams that I can identify it and I can say, we'll take that down. We'll take that out.
Yeah.
Because BYU's got the defensive personnel that they can say, oh, they want a niche? We'll take out their niche. BYU, as long as Jack Kelly has air in his lungs, BYU can contain any quarterback in the country.
Mm-hmm.
If that's their design, and that's going to be their design with Sorsby, they'll spy him, and they'll make sure Sorsby doesn't pick up any spare third downs or spare fourth downs with his feet. And they're going to hit him every time he tries to leave the pocket. But you look at the different quarterbacks that they've played where they've focused on a dual threat, they chop him in half.
Oh, yeah.
Now, there might be moments that it's like, oh, boy, he's getting away with it in a quarter. He won't in the second quarter. Or he might get away with it in the second quarter. He won't in the third quarter because they can absolutely throw a defense at him with Jack Kelly, Glasker, and Cialia Sierra that will stop him. And what I do love, if one of those 3 guys is busy with something, now you got Falata Satawala, who's a quarterback killer. And I'm trying to remember what game it was. Was it Colorado? Was it Salter that Satawala broke in half?
Yeah.
I think it was Salter. I think it was the Colorado game.
Dude's never been the same since.
It might have been Arizona. It might have been Noah Fafita. It was actually both. I know he had hits on both. But what I'm saying is you can rotate your spy, and now you can have a baller like Falata Satawala get involved. So when I look at Cincinnati's offense and when I watch the Utah-Cincinnati game, which I'll go back and watch it again, but I watched it the first time, and that's what they did. They keyed on Sorsby, made sure the ball was out of his hands. They clogged lanes with Tawi Walker, and I do think that this is the type of offense, and I don't have any insights into what BYU's defensive game plan is, but I do think that this is a team that you can rotate some odd and even based on what formations and personnel they put in. I think you can rotate some odd and even, run probably a little bit more odd front, and get after Sorsby.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that we really need to look at is Sorsby's only been sacked 3 times. This is the number 1 team in the country in protecting their quarterback. So this is a big test for BYU. It might not be about the sack, but it will be about the pressure.
Yep.
And this is something that I always talk about with BYU, because 25 sacks is great, and they've made a lot of strides. If you sack a quarterback, what can't happen? A pressured interception.
Yeah.
What's been happening a lot for the last couple of years for BYU? Pressured interceptions.
Yeah.
If those equate to sacks, sack is great, and it's great. I'll rack it up. But last week, the Falatau Satawala interception, that came off the Tausili Akana pressure. The Tanner Wall pick 6, that came off was it Hunter Clegg? I think it was Hunter Clegg. That came off another pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, so maybe you don't sack Sorsby, but you dang well better hit him and pressure him, because he will turn the ball over. He will throw the ball to the wrong team.
Yes.
Did it right out of the gates against Arizona. So
and he gets the ball off quick. He doesn't want to take hits. So offensive line has done a good job protecting him, but make no mistake, he's had a lot to do with only being sacked 3 times, because he'll get rid of the ball quickly, and he doesn't want to get hit, so he's going to throw it up in areas that's going to give you opportunities to come away with interceptions.
Yeah, he's very good, man. 500 yards of offensive rushing. He's actually matched pretty squarely with Bear Bachmeier. Bear Bachmeier's numbers almost mirror Sorsby. Listen to Sorsby's numbers. 2,200 passing yards, 500 rushing yards, 9 rushing touchdowns, 22 passing touchdowns. I think Bear's got 10 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
And is it 12 or is it 13 passing touchdowns? But he's right there, 2190 on his yardage. Sorsby's completion percentage is down a little bit. Sorsby's at 60%. Bear Bachmeier's just over 60. I think he's 62%.
Bear Bachmeier is at 63.2. He's got 2,177 yards passing, 13 touchdowns through the air, 10 on the ground with 479 yards on the ground.
Very similar numbers.
So there's going to be some opportunities there for BYU defensively. I think Sorsby is a guy you can rattle, and I fully anticipate Jay Hill will do just that. Hans and Scotty coming up a little bit later on. Mitchell Juergens will join us coming up at 2:05. It's all right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Let's go! Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. It's a huge Big 12 battle for the Cougars as they head to Cincinnati for a showdown against the Bearcats. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Woo!
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's your Cougar preview show. Mitch Juergens is going to join us coming up here in a bit, get his thoughts on what to expect out of Cincinnati as the Cougars hit the road. Final road game of the year before Arlington for the Utes, or for the Cougars, excuse me. Ooh. Now I got everybody mad at me.
Yeah, for a couple reasons. You're teasing Arlington, and you're saying the wrong team.
I'm just going scorched earth on everything here. That was a jinx. If you're a Cougar fan, that was a jinx towards Utah. If you're a Utah fan, no, it's me assuming that you're going to be there. which way you want to take it.
However you want to go.
Whichever gets me least amount of Twitter responses, angry Twitter responses.
I don't know if you're going to be able to stop that now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, cat's out of the bag now. All right, so BYU hits the road. Cincinnati, I don't anticipate, Hans, I know this is your first trip out there, but I don't anticipate an overall volatile crowd in Cincinnati. There's some places you go to where you actually feel that animosity, you feel the pressure. You said you felt it at Texas Tech. I don't think Cincinnati is going to bring a overall horrific home field advantage that BYU is going to be walking into. I think they're going to be in pretty good shape in that one.
I just don't know.
Yeah.
What makes you think that?
Everything I've heard from people who have made that trip said, like, yeah, not bad.
Really?
We'll be all right. Yeah. So we'll see. Overall, they're reporting some pretty good crowds on the season for them, but I don't know, man. I think when you lose 2 games like they've lost, it takes the wind out of the sails. It's a little bit like BYU last year when they started out 9-0 and then boom, loss, and you know the season's pretty much over. They get hammered by Utah. They lose at home to Arizona, and so now you're looking at a team that's reeling. They had about 36,000 in the stands for that Arizona game. So I don't anticipate you're going to see an overly aggressive, volatile situation that BYU is going to be running into.
36,000. Do you know what that stadium holds?
I don't. Let's see. The biggest crowd that they've had there this year has been 38,000.
I don't know if it holds
I think
more
it's
than that.
okay. I bet it's 38,007. Yeah, because they had that against Iowa State and they had that against Baylor, so that must be their capacity, just over 38,000.
Do you believe in the theory that BYU gets everybody's best shot?
Right now, I think they do, not because they're BYU. In the Mountain West, and when you're playing teams that have familiarity with BYU, I think they got everybody's best shot because they were BYU. I think they're getting everybody's best shot right now because they're a one-loss team in the conference. And so you've got a Cincinnati team like, all right, let's at least spoil their season. Eventually that's going to come where BYU is going to be maybe thought of like they were in the Mountain West, and they'll come after BYU because they're BYU, but I don't think they're there yet in the Big 12. Remember, BYU's been nothing but gracious and running food drives at everybody's stadium. They're nice. Everybody, they've gotten a little bit of sympathy because of the Bleep the Mormons chat. Everybody's doing everything they can to try to stay on the right side of that and not get, they don't want to be the ones getting in trouble for that nonsense. So I think BYU's in pretty good shape as far as that goes. But eventually, yeah, BYU keeps winning and putting together 9, 10, 11 win seasons. Yeah, they're going to get after BYU just because they're BYU.
Okay, let's think about this a little bit. So where is Cincinnati's mentality coming into this game? Because they're 5-2 in conference play, so they're still in that 2-game scrum or that 2-loss scrum with Arizona State, Houston, and Utah. So they're still in the mix, but if they look at any of the tie-breaking theories,
yeah,
they'll see that they're out.
They're out because
they're out in every one of them.
When there's a big scrum of teams, the tiebreaker is the strength of essentially your schedule, the strength of your quality wins. Well, when Cincinnati lost to Arizona, that pretty much threw them out of loops because they don't really have a lot of good wins. I mean, you look at their wins in conference: Kansas, Iowa State, Central Florida, Oklahoma State, Baylor. They don't have any wins against Texas Tech, no wins against Utah. If they lose to BYU, no win against BYU. I mean, there's no quality win. If they beat BYU, that's their best win of the season by a mile. So I guess in that rationale, maybe that's what they're looking to do. But no tiebreakers go their way at all.
Trying to put my mind into their mind space. A couple of losses back-to-back. One embarrassing there to Arizona in their own home. They had so many different hopes and goals. So a lot of those are crushed.
Yep.
I kind of feel like they're going to come out and they're going to try to redeem themselves. Redeem themselves in front of their fans. Redeem themselves. So if I'm preparing for BYU, if I'm a BYU defensive lineman or an offensive lineman, I'm expecting to get their absolute best.
I also think if you throw a punch early on and you're up 2 touchdowns late in the first quarter, I think they'll fold.
You start to crack.
Yeah.
Yeah, very possible.
All right, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.